Man, I got a great what, but I don't know my why.
Dr. Why. Dr. Gary Sanchez. He's a dentist turned author, international speaker, because he started searching for his why.
Once you know your why, then you know where you find success and what makes you feel successful.
He created a whole program. The WHY.os is now out there in the market.
WHY.os of the business is the WHY.os of the visionary. Get clear on the leader, get clear on the team, get clear on the message. Boom, you take off. Our vision is to be that first step in self-awareness when anyone's trying to figure out who they are. Where do I start?
What are some of the things that you've learned by failing, and how has that led to your success?
You know, my next book that I write, and I think I'll have a chapter from you probably in there. It's going to be called The Power of Pissed Off. Because think about what happens when we get pissed off. When I graduated, the advice that I was given, build a great product, people will naturally, mysteriously find out about you. So I spent 20 years doing that, Brad. I went to the highest levels. I competed in dentistry pretty much like I competed in everything else.
Yeah.
I got to the highest level, studied with the best mentors, built a beautiful office, really well-trained team. I had all the technology, all the stuff. I had a great what, but I blended in with everybody else who said, yeah, I'm a dentist too, or my nephew's a dentist. He just got out of dental school. He's just like you. And I'm like, no. He's not just like me. And I really got burnt out. Just couldn't stand it after a while. I was like, I can't believe how hard I've worked at this. And I don't have a practice that shows it. I don't have the income that shows it. I don't get the feelings, the accolades, or if you will, for how much I've put into this. And that's when I got so pissed off. I went out and I hired a coach. I hired a business coach, a guy named John Assaraf. I think you probably know him. And so through John, I learned how to use the internet. I learned how to do websites, drip campaigns, SEO, all that stuff. So I could tell everybody all about me. But the only problem was, what am I going to say? Until that's when I heard John Assaraf interview Simon Sinek. And I learned all about this concept of why, starting with your why. And I said, man, I got a great what, but I don't know my why. Yeah. So I called Simon and I said, Simon, I need you to help me discover my why. And he and I spent about 8 months together going back through my life, looking for clues as to why I do what I do. And when I finally figured it out, that my why is to find a better way and share it, my life made so much sense to me. Everything in my life has been about finding better ways to do things and then sharing them.
Yeah.
And that's how I found success. Because once you know your why, then you know where you find success and what makes you feel successful. And for me, it was finding better ways and then sharing them.
Change and communication. How do you succeed at change, and how do you succeed at communication?
When you think about how many people actually ever change, I kind of look at it differently. Instead of changing who you are or trying to change things, why don't we figure out who you are and then live the best version of you? Don't change. I don't really find that people do much changing unless they're under extreme situations. And even then, how long do they change for? They always seem to end up right back where their thermostat set them. So that's one of my perspective on that. I don't know if others will agree with that, but that's what I've noticed. Let's find out who you are and get you on the right path, and you will love what you're doing.
How do you succeed at communication?
If I see you on the screen right now, Brad, I can create a narrative around what I think I see, and then I'm going to treat you based on what I think you are. But if I know your WHY.os, now that I know it's about finding better ways, simplifying them so that you can have a bigger impact, now all that other stuff gets taken out and I see you for who you are. Now I know how to communicate with you. I know your language now. I know how to connect with you. I know how to talk to you. I would know how to build a program for you. I know what you're going to like and I know what you're not going to like. So it really helps shortcut communication from hoping that I say the right things, hoping I say enough things that Brad connects with it, to knowing exactly how to talk to Brad, exactly how to communicate and connect with them. And so when you want to connect with them, when you want to help get them on the right path, when you know their WHY.os, it just makes it simple. It's a better way. It's simple, and you'll have a bigger impact.
Finding your business why, or your business vision, as we call it in our world. Tell me more about how we succeed at that.
Steve Jobs, everybody knows who Steve Jobs is. His why is to challenge the status quo. How he does that is by finding better ways. And ultimately, what he brings are simple solutions. WHY.os of the business is the WHY.os of the visionary. So let's go back to Steve Jobs and see how that applies to Apple.
Yeah.
So we said his why was to challenge the status quo. Let's see, in everything Apple does, they challenge the status quo. If all he was going to do is make a better Crackberry, he would make one with 102 buttons.
Right.
But instead, he challenged what a phone was, found something better, which is glass, simplified it to where a 3-year-old and a 93-year-old could do it with their finger. Apple is a reflection of Steve Jobs. What is their tagline, right? It's think differently. So think different. So where did that come from? It came directly from Steve Jobs.
What's the keys to going from being good at something to being great at it?
To me, there's 3 steps in performing at the highest level, at scaling up. The first step is self-awareness. Got to know who you are. Everything starts with you. Second step is, who are we? Who do we have on our team? How do we all fit together? How do we align and focus everybody in the same direction? And then the third step is, what is our message? What are we going to say to the marketplace that brings the right people to us, those that appreciate, value us, refer to us, pay their bill on time, all that stuff? Once we have those 3 things in that sequence, that's when you get to live your why within your organization. That's when you have unlimited energy for it. And that's what you love what you're doing. And everybody can see it and feel it. I've seen it over and over and over. It's the same story. Get clear on the leader, get clear on the team, get clear on the message. Boom, you take off.
How do you get someone to do that massive thinking or massive dreaming?
Oh, boy, I really think it comes down to thinking time, having that time set aside to really just sit and think. And I went through this. We built the world's only WHY discovery tool. And so our vision is to be that first step in self-awareness when anyone's trying to figure out who they are. Where do I start? Now, our goal is to impact 1 billion people in the next 15 years. When I started to say 1 billion, I remember the first time I said it scared me to death. I was like, I have no idea how we're going to possibly do this. But now it's been a couple of years, and I can't tell you, Brad, how many people people that are in the same circles have stepped forward and said, I know how to help you get there. I'm going to help you get there. I mean, it's just been fascinating how many people step up when you say 1 billion and say, hey, I'm in. Yeah. I want part of that.
And that's the Big Success Podcast for today. Hopefully you took a lot of notes, learned a whole bunch, and if you need to, go re-listen to it. We dropped a lot of information right there today. Big success is what it's all about. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you're here with us every single week on the Big Success Podcast. I'm Brad Sugars. That's BS. Big success is what we're shooting for. Check the show notes for all the links. Make sure you follow through. Keep learning. Keep coming back. Oh, and by the way, share this with any of your friends who you know are up for success. I'll see you next week on the Big Success Podcast.
You've been listening to the Big Success Podcast with the #1 business coach in the world, Brad Sugars. To learn more about how to achieve business and personal success, as well as how to level up or listen to past episodes, visit www.bradsugars.com.